Guys, welcome back to the vlog. I'm really excited about this one. Jason Ritterman here actually has a really interesting story as to how he got to creating and being a co-founder here at AwayTeams. Jace, welcome to the vlog.
Thanks, Tobes.
Been watching your story. Obviously, we know each other away from the camera and away from work. I'd love for you to share with the audience what happened, how you got here, and then we'll get into sort of the offer and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, sure.
Exciting.
It's a bit of a long-winded story, so I'll keep it really brief. But like, I was, been in corporate world all my kind of professional career.
Yep.
I wanted to be Jerry Maguire when I grew up, so I started kind of in sports management, and then found myself in finance at NAB, and close to 9 years there. So always working in a big organisation. Really kind of, set in that kind of frame of work. After I left NAB, I went to a smaller fintech and really found myself in a great role.
Yep.
Sort of March this year, COVID starts to become a bit of an issue, and unfortunately, for want of a better word, my role got made redundant, and I was all of a sudden thrust into kind of the job market at quite possibly the worst time in the job market history, which was a really challenging kind of period of time for me. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And, you can kind of say things really do happen for a reason. And, I'm not born and bred entrepreneur like yourself.
Sure.
So I'm always used to working for other people, but I had a kind of desire to do something on my own.
Yep.
And through chance and through luck and maybe a bit of stars aligning, one of my very good mates offered me an opportunity to basically do something within his business but on my own.
Yep.
And so, we've spoken a few times about being a new, not young, but new entrepreneur and what that means. So it's been an interesting story.
Yep.
And I'm probably 6-7 months now into being running a business.
Yeah, business owner. Yeah.
And that comes with a lot of challenges, but I tell you what, it's an awesome ride, and I'm loving the journey so far.
So AwayTeams is the business. We've had a couple of conversations about how that could plug into our organization, and we're not quite there yet, but we're excited about your offering. Do you want to just share a little bit about what it is you guys do, or firstly, how you came to be about?
Yeah, so first of all, a very good friend of mine and his business partner, they're actually related, they're brother-in-laws. They've got an outsourcing business based out of Vietnam that focuses on delivering the creation of building documentation for some of the big builders in Australia and architects.
Yep.
So they've kind of 6, 7, 8 years of running that business. And through those 8 years, they started to offer roles outside of just drafting, which was their specialty.
Yep.
And so, inadvertently, they've started to build the scope of that business, but both of them didn't have the bandwidth to kind of run it and build it on their own.
Yep.
So that's where they kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, we think there's a real business here that we want to start to elevate.
Yep.
But we don't have the bandwidth. We need someone to come in, own it, run it, and build it on your own. Mm-hmm. So a few things aligned really nicely. One, with all the challenges that 2020 brought, and your business is front and center of that as well, is that remote working kind of got thrust into the norm.
Yep.
So you've got lots of established businesses who were used to being co-located in one position, now thrust into a distributed network, and worked out that they could be really productive in a remote environment where you've got people in different locations.
Not only productive, I think some people have actually thrived without the constraint of the commute.
Yeah.
And actually sitting at their desk between 8 till 5 or 9 till 6 or whatever the number is.
Absolutely. And I'm living and breathing that at the moment.
Yeah.
So you've got these companies who are potentially much more used to working remotely. So what the AwayTeams offer does is start to take that to the next level. So we say, well, your company is used to working remotely. Would you be interested in exploring having a remote role based out of our Vietnam office, where we can find you the skills the right experience and the right culture fit for your business, but we are going to save you from a productivity standpoint in terms of cost. So the proposition of AwayTeams is basically we're recruitment specialists in Vietnam, and we build and manage remote teams for companies here in Australia. That's what we do.
Unreal. And so it's very interesting. On my previous vlog, I felt like I described to Benny that like during COVID, he had a product and COVID has accelerated that. The market coming, so instead of him like hunting for the market's now actually swimming towards him.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're seeing a little bit of that as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely. So I think there's a couple things that come into play. One, a perfect example, I was speaking to an accounting firm who like 24 months ago would have been completely closed off to the idea of having, and they were looking for like an accounts receivable person.
Yep.
An accounts receivable based out of Vietnam, working dedicated for them would have been completely a closed door to them 24 months ago.
I think similarly, Jason, like the same thing is happening here on property,
Absolutely.
right? So the idea of, we're a large company that has, offices on Collins Street as a flex, as in them flexing because they've got offices on Collins Street, is actually really no longer of value or interest, not only to the people that they speak with, but also the employees that they have. And so they similarly would never have looked at a flexible office to house their people locally where it's convenient for them, yet still be plugged into that organization. So what you're saying, I'm basically articulating, is we're seeing that in the physical as well.
Absolutely correct, and think we've shifted, almost generations of time in the last 10 months, right? Like maybe it's
100%.
10 years, a decade's worth of movement. So physical location, the barriers of having everyone together, and your business, I think, is going to be a perfect fit for those companies that want to offer flexibility for their staff, but also want to have a space where they can all get together, but don't want to have the overhead of having a big office. So I think that works well. Likewise for us, we had accounting firms who were completely resistant to forcibly wanting to work remotely, and now actually, my staff are happy. We're productive. In actual fact, we're sometimes more productive. So when we're looking about filling the next role, we actually are open to exploring that role as a full-time remote role.
I don't think many people say this, but what I love about COVID is that now organizations they used to be about, hey, we want to recruit the right staff person to be able to come to us. And so therefore the recruitment was maybe upwards of 40, 50 kilometers from headquarters. Now their attitude is, I want to recruit the best person, and whether they're in Vietnam, Los Angeles, California, or maybe heading to the moon with Elon Musk, the ability for organizations to attract the right talent, irrespective of the geographical location, to help their organization accelerate up. I think COVID has made that all possible.
Completely agree. And look, whilst we are very focused on Vietnam because that's where our specialty is, and there's some nuance in Vietnam that people need to partner with us because we're the experts in that space. But you're opening the door to a workforce and to staff who you never really consider or have access to, and that differing, thought, opinion, views, even the cultural difference can actually be a great dynamic for your business and take you to places that you never thought you'd be. So
what did I say before? I said exactly that, right? It's about embracing those people for who they are, and let them come to the organization and do their own thing. I don't want to say loosely, do their thing to contribute that helps the business become better, stronger, more powerful by embracing the individual. I've heard of a couple of people that have recruited from Melbourne, they've recruited people in Perth. They would never have opened the doors to Perth before. They don't need people coming from Perth to Melbourne. They're very happy with them being in Perth. But the idea of them now having staff on the other side of the country.
Well, I mean, perfect example, Vietnam and Perth are the same time, right? So we're absolutely finding that what's great about this new business and being a new entrepreneur, right? And we've had this conversation before, is like, the great thing about this is that every conversation I have, the person who I'm speaking to is like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm open to that. It's not like we're flogging a dead horse, right? Yeah. So I think that helps. And the fact that we can kind of sit down, really understand, like we did with you, sit down, understand what your business is trying to do, what are the skills and experience that you're looking to try and attract in terms of the people, but the nuance is in the grey, right? So it's like a CV, right? You read everything on the CV, right education, right experience, but the grey is, well, what's this type, who is this person?
Sure.
What gets them out of bed, what motivates them? So
Flavor.
Our differentiation is, while we guarantee that their experience will be right and their education, criteria meets your requirements, is who do you actually want in your business? What type of person? So we focus on the grey, and that's where you get sticky, long-lasting relationships.
Very, very powerful stuff. Guys, I'm gonna link the AwayTeams and Jason's details, depending on where you're watching, either above or below. Have a look, lean in, embrace it. We've had a couple of conversations about having Jason source some talent for us in some of the departments that we need. And some of the candidates that came back, although it wasn't the right time for us, and we decided to do something different, the candidates that came back, the talent was elite.
Yeah.
So have a look, consider it. Jason's details are below or above. Guys, I appreciate your time again today. Thank you so much.